Vonnie. Vonnie made the choice to enter the London Parks half marathon in April next year, which is in aid of the Cure Parkinson's Trust, I'm right in saying?
Correct.
Correct. Personal reasons for doing so?
My father's got Parkinson's and an
Right.
excellent ex-runner.
There's a history here. Vonnie's had cruciate knee ligament problems from her rugby playing days. Also a very good athlete in a whole cross section of different sports and activities. 2 cruciate on one knee, or 2 operations on one knee and 1 on the other. We came along with this pair of shoes, which she's been running in a little bit. So one of the ways of assessing this, which is such a simple way, is test balance. Balance being super important for runners, because every stride you take is a one-legged balancing act. Running is constant, and we're looking at particularly how the foot manages itself in landing, contact time and push off. Let's have a look and see. So if you stand on your right foot, bring your left knee up, Vonnie, arms into a sort of the stick 'em up position, just keep your balance. So we do this to start off with eyes open, and we'll see how Vonnie's balance is using her eyes. So with eyes open, fair bit of wobbling going on, but she's managing to maintain it. So let's try the left foot. So the left leg is the one that was operated on twice on that cruciate. And straight away we can see a little bit more effort being required to keep some balance here. Vonnie found this pair of older trainers that she's been wearing in the past. They're a little bit worn underneath, but she popped them on and eyes closed. A new pair of the same model as the green ones, so that's good news. Yesterday, wasn't it? Vonnie put in a pair of Barefoot Science Insoles. In this instance we've gone for the therapeutic brand, which and full length versions. Sometimes we go for 3/4 length. But as these have a removable insole, we've taken the insole out and done a straight swap. I had to cut the insole to match the previous insole. It was just simply a case of popping it on, marking it up, and I cut round so that we ended up with the same size. Nice and simple procedure. Eyes open to start with again, and close. Normally, I know Vonnie's been wearing these yesterday at the gym, and you've been wearing them around the house today as well. So her nerves on the sole of the foot have been stimulated, they've had that information coming through to them, so they accepted the immediate use of the insole here. Often in a study environment, clinical environment, we would ask the person, once the insole's gone in, to walk about 500 steps before we repeat the test. The reason being that it takes the brain a little while to soak up this information coming up through from the proprioceptive system and figure out what to do with it and gain control of the body. Shin, and then her thigh, and then the hip will follow. So we're looking to see first of all whether the foot is rolling into pronation as she lands on it, or effectively strikes down. So we're looking at what's called ground force reaction. And I can assess this by connecting here on the subtalar joint, and there is some rolling in going on. It's a little bit variable, but it is happening. I can reassess that by popping my finger under the back part of the medial arm, finger squashed, and the same just behind the first met, a bit of toe, a little bit of low going on. Then we want to see what's happening with the shin, and the shin is following that, but the foot's rolling in and the shin's following it into medial rotation, which is great, it's what we want. And then we want the thigh to be following the shin. And this process of the foot going into pronation is the start of shock absorbency, and it also creates a stretch into the plantar surface of the foot, And that stretch stores energy, and it's the energy that we then want to use for the recoil of the next step. So if you now step through and back, and just keep that movement going. Now we're looking to see now whether the thigh then rotates laterally. As soon as the right hip passes the midpoint of the left hip, we're looking for lateral rotation, and lateral rotation through the tibia. And we can feel that happening there, pronation. Load under my finger, yeah, it's getting squished, and a little bit less under the forefoot there, but it is happening fairly consistently. Tibia is rotating inwards to follow it, and the thigh, the femur is rotating inwards to follow the shin. That's great. So then you step through and step back, and so again what we can see is the femur is laterally rotating, and then we look for the shin, and unfortunately the shin, as with the left leg, is actually increasing in its medial rotation, and the foot similarly is increasing into pronation. So again there's a failure to resupinate. Okay, have a rest. And we want the shin to be following it, which it's still doing, and we want the thigh to be following the shin, which it's still doing. So it's starting to resupinate at that point there. Out it goes.